AITA for refusing to eat my boyfriend's mom's meal she made when I came over? I had gone over to my boyfriend's house so we could hang out. ID never talked much to his mom before. She's usually at work when I come over. But today she was at the house. A few hours pass, and she calls him for dinner. I start laying down on his bed, as I wasn't very hungry, and didn't want to ask for food even if I was. His mom looks at me and says, "Come eat. I made enough for everyone. I want to thank you for being so good to my son with a meal." I politely declined, but she kept asking. Eventually I cave in, and we all sit at the table with his dad and two other brothers. She makes me a plate of what I think is a type of noodle soup called pho. His family is Vietnamese, if that matters. It smells good, but I'd never eaten that kind of food before, so I just kinda sat there moving it around while they talked. 10 to 15 minutes go by and she notices I haven't really eaten. "You don't like it? Please eat." I nervously shake my head and awkwardly explain that I'm just not used to this kind of food, but that I meant no disrespect. She frowns and says something to my boyfriend that I can't understand. He turns to me and asks if I can just try it. I say that I'm really not hungry, and feel like if I eat anything right now I'll get sick. Wasn't really true, but I felt really panicked at this point. His mom gets super upset and goes on a rant about this as why he shouldn't have dated an American girl. How she spent so long making sure this was perfect for me only for me to disrespect her. I said I had no ill intentions, but I wasn't going to make myself eat food I wasn't in the mood to eat as I was an adult. We ended up leaving cause she said she needed space from us at that moment. My boyfriend says I was stubborn and should have at least took a sip. I feel bad, but I felt really pressured to do something I didn't want to do. AITA? Edit. I'd just like to add that I'm already planning to apologize regardless of judgment. And no, my boyfriend is not going to break up with me over this. He just wants me to talk to his mom. I keep seeing people mentioning an eating disorder called ARFID, and I honestly think it's worth looking into. Thank you. Wow, my block list is getting long. Feel free to keep sending me death threats in DMs and going to my other posts to harass me. Me and my boyfriend are having a good laugh. Hope the mods lock the comments soon. YTA. You should have gone home if you weren't going to eat. You likely broke some cultural norms in the household by refusing, and you were rude in stating you haven't eaten that kind of food before. It's broth, meat and noodles. I am sure you have eaten those things before. YTA. This is clearly someone trying to be kind. Tasting the food would have been the appropriate, polite, and kind thing to do. You say that you're an adult, but you don't behave like one. Woman shrugging. She graciously welcomes you in the way she knows best, and you reject even a taste of the food, for no reason that you gave, other than unfamiliarity, to the point where you look xenophobic. YTA. You were simply rude. Pho is not too different from what you yourself or your ancestors would have eaten. If you're not going to eat food, don't be there for dinner. She was very kind to you. I would be on your side, but the reason you didn't try it is because you have not eaten that kind of food before? You're literally dating a Vietnamese man? Did you think you would never eat Vietnamese food? Pho is delicious, by the way, just a beef soup. It's not even remotely scary looking. It looks like soup. Now, if it were raw fish head soup I would be like, mate, with you, but it's not. You refused to try it, which on its own was disrespectful. The vibe is that you're disgusted by foreign food. That's what you essentially said. She made you a food that many Westerners like, which was very sweet of her. From my understanding, Vietnamese people actually usually eat that for breakfast, so it sounds like she did a really nice thing trying to accommodate you. YTA. YTA. First of all, it's pho. It's essentially a noodle soup. You even say it smelled good. This is not wildly branching out, assuming you're used to more Western meals. Secondly, it's just very, very insulting to not even try. And to talk like the food would make you sick. To not respect that she's prepared food. Just, yeah, this isn't great. YTA. If you didn't want to join them and it was mealtime, you should have excused yourself and gone home. You can't hang out in your boyfriend's bedroom while they have dinner. You should know enough about his family's culture that 1, they're going to offer food, and 2, it's going to be seen as insulting to refuse to even try it. YTA. Part of the problem is we have clashing cultures here, and then there are hints of racism in your food select. You wouldn't try the food because you've never eaten that kind of food before. You've already said you identified it as a noodle soup. You've definitely had a noodle soup before. So what you meant was you've never had Vietnamese noodle soup before and you were worried there was something gross about it. The polite thing to do would have been to say, "Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for all of the effort. I've been feeling under the weather or my appetite is off. But I'd love to try it. Please don't be upset if I can't finish a bowl though. It really smells delicious." Then you have a few sips. And when you notice it is delicious, you eat more. Or you thank her again for making it and apologize for not being able to eat more. Pho is like the least adventurous cultural cuisine you can be faced with. It isn't overly spicy. You set your own spice level with what you add to your bowl. The meats or veggies are common to most cultures. There aren't cuts of meat that would seem exotic to some. It's such a safe try food. You aren't a vegetarian. You don't have religious reasons. You don't have a food allergy. It wasn't a culturally shocking item. Like, I'm not doing anything with eyeballs. Or bugs. Or bugs with eyeballs. You just didn't want it because it wasn't American food. Even within this post, you can't decide if you were just not hungry or you didn't like the food. No wonder you came off as rude. YTA. PS. Pho is excellent. You should try it. Please have dinner with us. No. I'm an adult. YTA. How is being an adult your defense when most children probably have better manners than you? I wasn't going to make myself eat food I wasn't in the mood to eat as I was an adult. Info. You weren't going to make yourself eat food you weren't in the mood to eat? How does that make you an adult? YTA. Would you have tried it if she said beef noodle soup and not pho? YTA. I am a super picky eater. I mean super picky. When I go and visit family for the first time, I am always nervous about eating food, but I will always taste something so I don't upset the person who cooked. They completely understand that I am not hungry, but at least tried something new and liked it. Girl. YTA. YTA. Chicken pho is chicken soup. Just try it. It's delicious. Man, you missed out. YTA. You were rude and childish in this situation. At minimum, have at least a few bites. Say how good it is. And then pass on having more. This is common courtesy. And being in an Asian family home, what you did is downright insulting. YTA. How old are you? Surely if you have a BF, you are for sure too old to be acting like this. If it was just noodle soup and it smelled good, why not just try it? If someone's made food, it's just common decency to at least taste it. How hard would that have been? I'd imagine getting along with your BF's family would be a priority. Like, I feel like you took something so simple and made a huge deal out of it, and now your boyfriend's mom is judging you. And rightfully so. Edit. Ran to your profile and wow. Your age is right there. You are 19 years old acting like this over noodle soup. Seriously? Grow up LMAO. YTA, at the bare minimum it would have been polite to at least try it. YTA. Why didn't you try the soup? You didn't state you have food allergies. You said the food smelled good. As a white girl who dated a Vietnamese guy for years, you have done the rudest possible thing that you could do as a guest. What you should have done was try the soup. If you didn't like it, politely say you aren't used to the flavors. Just so you know, that goes for any home you are visiting as a guest, not just an Asian home. If you were my son's guest and you didn't even try my chicken and dumplings, I'd be upset too. You missed out big time. Pho is amazing. It's a special dish that takes a long time to make. I tried every dish out in front of me and I loved them all. Except durian. I still tried it and said it wasn't to my taste, but thank you for letting me try it. Get a book about manners. Read it, especially how to decline things politely. YTA. She was going out of her way to be so kind to you and you were so dense and unappreciative. Pho is very labor intensive and you wouldn't even try it? A huge part of dating someone of another culture is appreciating and exploring that culture, especially their food, and not just refuse, "Nah, I'm just not used to this." You missed a huge bonding opportunity with them. My husband is Asian and I absolutely treasure every meal his grandma has made for me. YTA. Pho is literally noodles and meat in a broth. My sister, who is an extremely picky eater, eats it. It smelled good. You could have taken a bite. I have extreme anxiety too, and often do get physically sick when feeling anxious. I would still have taken a bite of the food. Also, you may not have noticed it, but that was a microaggression. There was no reason for you not to at least try it. You even said it smelled good. I'm struggling to understand why you literally didn't even try it.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.